Yeah, it'll be live streamed.
Got it.
Woohoo!
All right, let me go to our YouTube and make sure I am. I don't see it yet.
Comes. Here it comes.
There we go.
Here we are.
And mute that bad boy. There we go.
Okay, there we go. All right, there. So that's a little bit of delay. I'll let you watch that one.
Live chat.
All right. So, hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Open studio. Hello. Hi. Hi to everyone that may be joining us.
Normal.
Beep, beep. It's true. It's true. So, little open studio. Helen, you just returned from your studio and flipping off all the people in the subway in London.
I did. I was having a day in the studio where I felt like my skills did not measure up to my ideas, and so it was a little frustrating because I know I'm skilled. I know I have skills, but
we all have
it
days.
just was like it was just so frustrating because I was trying to figure out this problem and it wasn't cooperating. Nothing I did seemed to really work, and I know that there were lots of issues with what I was doing.
Well, you know, seriously. First of all, let me just say, I know we all.
And then I dumped on my ladies when they woke up.
We all have those. I woke up and I was like, "What's happening? What's going on? I need coffee. I need coffee. Un momento." And then I woke up. I don't know if I walked into it was like one of those NPC people that like walks into walls for a while.
Yeah, because you said that I need coffee gift twice.
Yeah, I think I was like, yeah,
she really needed coffee
in the video game that was my morning. I was walking into a wall. I think, I don't know. Anyway, repeatedly. but let me just get back to this. Yes, we all have those days that just like it doesn't seem to make any sense. You don't seem like it's just, the solder's not flowing, your head's not working, the tools are sucking, you're cutting yourself, you're doing stupid stuff, and you don't know why. And it's like, and then you go,
burn.
I suck.
I can't.
And then you burn yourself, and so then you burn yourself, and you're like, oh my God, that's it. I've had it. And sometimes you just have to. Those are the days that I'm like, you want to burst into tears because you're like,
the floor, right? And then
yeah, but it makes you feel miserable because it's like, I can't do anything, and then you're like sweeping the floor going, so I have to say, one of the things that I did that I'm really happy that I did, and it seems ridiculous and silly, but I'm really happy I did this. When my mom was cleaning out her house and moving, she found this box of stuff from like elementary school and high school for my sister and I. And so there were a lot of like little awards and things that were in the box from like us growing up. Things like, three-legged race on the 4th of July, graphic design award from high school,
nice
the roller skating award from the Girl Scouts, stuff like that. I put that on like a little wall that's between me and the door that when I leave, it just is one of those things that's always in my peripheral vision as I'm going out the door, and it's like right kind of like in my face as I'm leaving. And you probably wouldn't notice it if you were in my studio unless you were like, what's that blue ribbon for? But I have to say, I've had people come in the studio and go, "You have so many accomplishments." I'm like, "Did you read any of those?" Because one of them is for walking up a stone mountain when I was in 5th grade. Nice. One of them is blue ribbon for multiple blue ribbons, by the way, for the three-legged race on the 4th of July.
Heck yeah.
Many years of that. So anyway, but with my friend Monica as we were growing up. But here's the thing, and I've got a couple of other ones over there. They're like instructor of the year and things like that are legitimate. But it's nice to have just a little spot on my studio wall that is just sort of my rah spot. Yeah, just sort of my validation area where it's like
You got your new pin on.
I do. That I'm just sort of like, you could be somebody kind of wall. You knew it
Okay,
when
I've
you
got
were
to
a
find
kid,
my
and you
pin.
know it now. So even if I'm having a bad day, Helen, I know at one point in my life I could roller skate with Girl Scouts.
Yes, I had some ribbons from my very
Oh yeah.
very short life in horse shows when I
Oh.
was like 9 or 10.
So
I
jealous.
wasn't. It
Okay.
wasn't. I didn't really. It wasn't like first. I was more like third or honorable mention or participation type ribbon. So it wasn't like But yes, I should have saved
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Print out your own.
Actually, what I do have is a little board. When I drew a little thing that says I am a magical unicorn, and I made it all rainbow sparkly. And then I have a letter from Kinsey that I absolutely adore, because she sent me this really awesome note when she sent me a whole bunch of powder coating stuff. And I have a little saying that Peggy had posted, that people need weird art, not hotel and dentist art, but the weird stuff. And then so it's sort of the same thing. And I have it right in front of me.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting at my desk. So
Yeah.
yes.
And
I have to remind
I think-
myself I'm an actual magical unicorn.
That's right. And sometimes magical unicorns have days too.
Yep. Yes.
But so let's talk about what the oh, there she goes. Bye.
No, I'm getting something.
And she's gone. She is a magical unicorn.
Oh.
Wait for it. Here she comes. And magical unicorn in 3, 2, 1, boom.
My unicorn horn is downstairs. So we
Your
get
magical fox.
magical fox.
Yeah, my fox ears are at home.
Sorry, mine are in the
But
other.
yeah. So Helen, what was the thing you had?
Yeah. So can I share some pictures?
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
wait,
Yeah.
before we do that,
Yeah.
Okay.
take a moment to explain what we're doing here.
What are we doing
Okay.
here?
What we're doing here is we are giving you guys a little preview of our our new offering, which is Open Studio Access. And we're going to be doing this. Jennifer's doing it every Monday. I'm doing it every other Wednesday, and Helen is doing it every Friday. And their times are posted in the listings on our website. And so what you can do is you can buy a month of Open Studio Access, and then you will get a Zoom link for the month of all of July. And you'll be able to come in and just hang out with us while we work and ask questions and brainstorm and get answers and sort of figure stuff out, right? Because we're all on this journey together.
Yeah.
And even those of us who have a lot of experience are always running up against problems that we haven't seen before. And so we always need the input of Fran, like, is this a good way to think about this? Or should I?
Accountability buddies.
Accountability, we need accountability buddies, and just general like support and help on the way. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's all about community and connecting people with each other and getting help from other people and being able to celebrate other people's accomplishments and getting to hang out with each other, even if you're, on the other side of the pond, right? Like Helen's husband and Jennifer and I may both be in Seattle, but we're not, we can hang out with each other and we can each be in our own studio. So you'll have up to 20 hours of Open Studio Access that you can come into any one of those 20 hours for the whole month of July. And then if you want to do it in August, you can do it in August, you can do it in September, or you can do a bundle and buy all 3 and you get a 15% discount. And this is really just time for us to be working and you to be working and you to ask questions and, get troubleshooting help and feedback and all that stuff. So we thought we'd give you a little preview of what that looks like today. Now, this is a little different because the actual Open Studio will probably be just Jennifer. Well, Jennifer, or, you know, like on Mondays, it'll be Jennifer will be the main person, right? If I'm in there, I'll be there as an ancillary, you know, additional. She'll be running the show. And then on every other Wednesday, it'll be me. And then on the Fridays, it'll be Helen. And that's all listed so you can see. So today is a bit unusual because you have all three of us.
Yay.
You could ask questions of all three of us. Now, if you bought access to the Open Studio, you would be in the Zoom call with us. So you could just
Right.
shout questions, you could share your screen, show pictures, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, right.
another difference for today, because you'll be able to watch this on Zoom, I'm sorry, on YouTube, but you won't be able to ask us, you know, you're not in the call to ask us questions or show us things. But in the future,
Right, right.
you would actually be in the call with us and hanging out and, you know.
You
This-
can't ask questions today on YouTube,
Yeah,
though.
you can ask questions in the
Yeah,
chat.
because I'm watching the chat, so
And Helen
please.
is watching the chat, so please feel free to throw us a question or two, and
Yeah.
we'll do our best to answer it. But that's kind of the idea, you know, we came up with this thing, it's like a summer thing, you know, we all need accountability.
You know, and the other thing is, you know, sometimes when you're working, you just need some feedback. It's like, you know, what the heck?
Moral support, right? It's just somebody
Yeah.
else like, oh, you know, she's gonna be in the studio right now, I'll go too, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I like to think of it like as a gym membership for your studio,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Means are always
I mean, that's kind of what it
Oh.
is, right?
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen. Oh, hi. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah, so it's kind of like a gym membership for your studio where you get to go and hang out with some friends, work out stuff, and yeah.
work out.
So, say what?
What you're like, it's a gym membership, you get to go to work out stuff.
Oh, go to work out your stuff. Yeah. So your stuff might be, you know, stone setting, or you might be working on some wax carving, or you might be working on who knows what, but or just want some company while you're working in the studio and have somebody to bounce ideas off of
Right.
and do critiques, or, you know, what change
not?
should I
Just hang
use?
out.
And right. Yeah. So just having some, you know, work time where you can kind of do that. The other thing I want to mention is too, Julia, is that one of the reasons that I personally really wanted to do this was for a couple of reasons. One, because we were doing like mentored one-on-one kind of classes or things that people could buy. And it was so hard to schedule that and for like multiple parties. And it was
a little
not
pricey.
not very cost effective for the people that wanted to do it, and it was hard for us to do it just for one person.
Mhm.
So this way, it's sort of like sharing the load with multiple people. So you can come in like 1 hour if you want, which is basically when we were doing the one-on-one mentoring, it was $60 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. So now it's $65 for 20 hours access for the entire month. So you've got a lot more access with all three of us.
And we're hoping that you know, we'll make it up in volume, basically, that we'll have plenty of people coming to
Right.
join us. And so then, you know, it'll make it worth it for everybody involved.
Right. But I also wanted kind of
That's
a
what we're
dedicated time. I wanted a dedicated time to like be in the studio too, that I could work on my stuff, work with Little Metal Foxes stuff, and basically have like office hours. So
Mhm.
like I need to be here and I need to be working on stuff. And so why not just throw open the door and say, you know, come on in.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make it, I didn't want to have a class attached to this. Because some people are like, I don't need a class, I just need help. You know, it's like, okay, you don't have to take a class, you can just get help, you know. So like if you're working on a project and you're like, I can't figure out how to get this thing soldered inside this thing and they won't glue together right. So we can kind of sit down and brainstorm stuff out and talk about it and make it affordable and worthwhile for everybody involved. So
That's the
anyway,
plan.
this was our solution.
So we're giving
I
it a
hope you'll join
try. So come on
Yeah.
board, join
Yeah.
us for July,
Yeah.
August, and September. And if it goes swimmingly, we'll keep going. We'll keep doing it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
definitely come
And
and give
yeah,
us feedback and let us know if it's working for you so that we can decide if
Yeah.
it works for us. And also if there's things about it that need to change, though, you know.
right. Well, and we've got it set up so that it's like on London time, it's on the middle of the States time, it's on west of the States time. So if you're in Europe or North America, South America, or farther west, like Hawaii, Australia, you know, we've got some times where people can kind of like, it's a broader time spectrum.
Mhm.
So if you're on the East Coast, you've got mornings. If you've got, you know, you've got afternoons, you've got different times of day, you know, depending on what time zone you're in, you've got different times of day on different days of the week that you can, you know, join us. So
Right.
hopefully we tried to accommodate a lot of people doing this
Right.
and make it as versatile and flexible.
Versatile and flexible.
Versatile and flexible. Yes. So anyway, so Helen, what were you working on today that you needed help with?
Hold on, I'm finishing something on Facebook because I'm also
Okay.
asking people, glass people on Facebook. So hold on.
Good. You know,
Different-
when you've got a community of people to follow up with that have got ideas, it's always helpful. Always helpful. And the thing here, one of the things
Okay.
that I like about doing, like having like open studio critiques and things, is that if you come into it with the right frame of mind, and that you need some objective criticism, and I mean that in the most constructive criticism kind of way,
Yeah.
where you're coming into
Objective
a situation,
feedback.
yeah, where you
I don't
need
like the
some
word
objective.
criticism.
Well, it is, you know,
It is
a
criticism,
critique.
but criticism is freighted with a lot of negativity. And so it's like,
It is, but it also is, you know, when you're doing a critique, a real critique, you're
Mhm.
usually looking for, you know, what's in an objective way, what's good, what's working,
Mhm.
what needs improvement, what's not working. And you can kind of work your way, you know, in that area to make improvements rather than, you know, if you can be objective about your work a little bit and accept the help of others and accept how other people are seeing it, and you want to get, you know, real feedback, a good critique is worth its weight in gold, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's really hard to find people that will be open and honest and fair and honest about what they think, and are able to
Not cruel, but honest.
no.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
I mean, being, like I said, you know, being fair about, you know, it's like, this
Mhm.
is what I think's working. These things are working really well. This
Yeah.
stuff needs a little bit of tweaking, needs a little bit of work to clean it up and make it shine. And then these things aren't working and might need to either change or go, you know. So those kinds of things, you know, when you're looking at that and being fair and objective in criticism and in your feedback, can be incredibly helpful. So it's just, you know, whether it's, you know, photography or painting or jewelry or sculpture or whatever you're working on, basket weaving, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, fashion design, all of it, you know, there's always going to be things that we can make better. And so that's what interdisciplinary critique that I have extensive experience doing is one of the things that I really enjoy doing, because I know that sometimes it's stuff you know and you don't want to admit. Sometimes it's stuff that you're like, damn it, you know, I knew it, and I just was hoping somebody else didn't see it. But then somebody else sees it and you're like, yeah, okay, I need to fix that. So just having somebody be like honest with you and to bounce ideas off of sometimes. And sometimes you're like stuck in a solution and you're like, I can only see it this way. And then somebody else walks through the room and is like, oh, that looks like a so-and-so. And you're like, oh, huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. That's what's wrong with it.
Damn it.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, sometimes people can be like, oh, you just need a so-and-so on there. And it's like, oh God, you know, it's like, yeah, you can pick one of those up down at the corner. And you're like, oh, God, it's such a simple solution. Why didn't I see it? And you just need to have somebody like bounce those ideas off of. So anyway, that's what we want to do with Open Studio Access. So
Okay, so shall I reveal my project?
reveal the project.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna do my screen sharing, and I want to share
Share
this.
that screen. Share that
Share
screen.
that screen.
See.
Are you seeing
Woo,
my?
Helen?
There we go. All
Yeah.
right, so I am working on basically I'll this piece right here.
Right.
And what
Hmm.
yeah, so what how do I navigate? Okay, so you can see here it's in 3 different pieces. So
Right.
the top and bottom are closed, and the middle section, which is actually literally in the middle of this picture, is hollow all the way through. And so these are glass, and this is without the bands. And
I can see the lines, yeah, where the join lines. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And so that's what I kind of want to hide, although it's not horrible. It's not great.
Right.
And but I also don't want to just hide them. I want to, you know,
Celebrate.
make them, yeah, I want to make it a cohesive unit. And the problem is because in my kiln is only 9 inches deep, and you lose at least 2 inches, 2.5 inches, because of you don't want to be too close to the elements at the top, and you have to have airflow underneath and the kiln shelf. So between that, you're losing between 2 and 3 inches. So basically, the tallest I can really do is about 6 inches.
Now, let me ask you this, just out of curiosity, because
Yeah.
I'm not usually working with pas de verre. Is the if you made this all one piece taller, like in a bigger kiln,
Yes.
the colors on the bottom would compress under the weight of the other glass?
Well, sort of. I mean, you can see it here. The top and the bottom pieces and on this column are actually both. Well, the one on top is actually what you're seeing on the top is actually the bottom of when it was fired. So let me see.
Of the pieces.
So let me show you this picture. So it's a little clearer. Let me zoom in. So you can see how nice and straight sided this one is on the bottom, and how it looks like a little bit like a Coke can on top. That's because the top is what's exposed, and the bottom is literally the bottom, and so that's what's actually contained. And so what I've done with these other ones is I've basically back out. These are the, you know, basically I cut the top and bottom off the middle one.
Okay.
No. Yes. At any rate,
so you ground some of those edges off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I took off the melty parts on all of them.
Okay. So the top kind of falls in on itself.
Yes.
Okay. And but does the bottom compress as far as color is concerned? Do you get some compression there?
It does. Yeah, it does. There is some compressing going on, but that's not.
If this was 12 inches tall, would that compression be more exaggerated? Is my question.
Maybe.
Okay.
But
right.
To me, it wouldn't necessarily make a difference design wise. It would just be what it is, you know.
Okay. So so the problem is getting your bands to function in a way that they're supporting the piece better, right?
Yes.
As well,
because I don't want it to. Yeah, because I don't want it to, you know, say like if you accidentally knock it over, I
Yeah.
don't want it to fall apart.
Right. Right.
And then you've spent a lot of money on my art piece and it's shit, you know.
Yeah. It's like having a necklace you can't take off, and if you do, all the beads fall off, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's
So, but you also have a plan to contain things on the inside of this, right?
yes, I do have borosilicate tube that I actually just got in. It's a little bit actually a little bit smaller than these holes. So I think in the next iteration of developing the next set, I will make sure that the interior is to size to the boro tube. It's only because they just I couldn't buy boro tube in this exact diameter. But it's fine. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. It's not a big deal. At any rate, I do have a tube because I eventually want these to hold, you know, be it like a reliquary to hold ashes or other, you know, kind of sacred objects that are personal, you know, that kind of thing. And so, you know, I just want to make sure that the inside is also contains whatever you want it to contain and keeps the object safe.
Right.
So that's another reason why I want to make sure that it's stable, because I don't want things to spill out if you happen to have ashes in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would be bad.
Okay. So, all right. So
And
with
yes,
so the problem you're having with getting the rings to solder properly, right?
yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen again.
Okay.
So originally
Share your screen.
I'll just do the whole desktop because, you know, it's just easier. Okay, so originally what I was thinking is having a washer in, you know, and you can see the little score line where I was trying to make sure I would have the midline to insert the washer, and then solder it all
there. Okay.
around.
All right. Gotcha. All right.
And then so that, you know, then the hole would be open, and, you know, it wasn't my ideal situation because I want the light to be able to travel,
Mhm.
but, you know, stability is important. So this
Right.
was my first thought, was to put in a washer, and then I would give a nice even surface for any adhesive that I use, epoxy,
Right.
to bind the metal and the glass together into a structure.
Right. So you wanted to solder like basically a washer to the inside of this
Yeah.
in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? And
Did you want to see?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's see it. What was the problem that you were having doing that?
Well,
Okay.
first of all, the the band is just shy of 2 inches.
Okay.
So I have a 2-inch punch, so I could do some thin copper,
Right.
and I can't get it to fit in there properly because it's 50 millimeters versus 50.8.
Got it.
So then I was like, well, let me just put in these tabs, which you can see I did here. But I had a really hard time with it. So, and you see in the back, I tried just a wire, and that was okay. But
You really need a thin washer in there. You need a washer that has surface. And
yeah,
if it's a little too big, you can, if it's really thin, Helen,
it is.
draw
It's like,
a line.
it's the same.
And use
0.2 millimeters. It's the same stuff that Leslie uses for her embossing.
Oh, it's so thin.
Yeah. The washer part, not the outside.
Yeah. I would use something a little bit heavier than
A
that.
little thicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it's too thin, you're never going to get it to solder, and it's going to warp all over the place.
Right.
So I would
Yes.
probably not use anything thinner than like 20
2,
Because these are
4,
like
yeah.
these are 24. The bands are like 24 or
I'd
26.
probably use something heavier on the bands. Probably, I would, if it was me, this is my solution. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably use something like 20 gauge for the band, the outside band.
Mhm.
That way it's got
Okay,
some
let me
substance
take
to it.
notes.
Yeah, it's got some substance to it. It's not too thin and weak, and it looks deliberate. A lot of times when we work thin, it looks
Cheap.
Cheap,
well, it can look cheap. It can look
Well,
weak.
if it's not,
insubstantial. It can look insubstantial.
It can look
yes.
insubstantial. It can, yeah, it can have that kind of, and if it's too thin for you to handle, I mean, and solder, because it's so lightweight, you know, having something that is a little more deliberate, something that has a little bit heavier weight to it, is actually going to be a lot easier to solder. So what I would do is do at least 20 gauge on the outside on something that's that big. All right, first of all.
Yes, it's
And I would,
about a half-inch tall.
yeah, okay. But you know, you could vary that strip width too, because the lines vary
Yeah.
on your glass, which could kind of be cool. So if you had one that's like half inch, one's a little thinner, you know, I don't know. Anyway, but I would go heavier with the gauge on that outside. And I would go heavier with the gauge on the inside. Now, you could still use 24 gauge on the inside for your washer. Draw your 50 millimeter circle with a scribe, cut it out with shears rather than a punch. And then,
Yeah, because the punch ain't happening.
yeah. So I would just cut it out with like some Joyce Chin shears and then file it down to the line, to the scribed line, versus trying to do it the other way. The inside, you're probably going to have to saw out, but if it's thin enough, you probably could use a smaller punch, disc punch, and pop it out. So if you've got, you know, like an inch and a half, you could pop out an inch and a half circle in the center with, you know, that size punch, right?
Yeah, actually,
So you don't
Thurston does have circle punches, disc cutter punches that are to size, basically.
The 50 millimeter size?
Yeah, I think 50
Oh.
and a 32.
Oh, perfect.
But
Okay.
they're expensive.
But if you're going to be doing this a lot, it's going to be worth it. So it's going to be a tool that is part of your making process. You know, it's
Yes.
not like it's some frivolous thing for a one-off. You know, I mean, that's
Right.
the other thing.
Yeah, if it was just a
So-
single thing, then yeah, I wouldn't be investing all this time and
Right. And it's, you know, that's the thing, that you're going to use it for more than just this. And you could use it for stuff that is for your, you know, dishes and tops. And I mean, it has so many applications. I would go ahead and get that. So if you've got that you can cut out, stamp the center and stamp the outside, you're set. I would just do it with 24 gauge. The next thing is getting it soldered to the right height on the inside and getting it to stay
And
where you need it.
Do you have titanium clips or strips that I bought from Cookson that I have I bent into a circle thingy, you know, so that I could
With the right height.
that was not the problem. The problem was just
But it's actually going to be easier. I think
soldering.
this point too is that it's going to be easier to solder that washer in than to solder tabs in, even if you have a support.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because the washer is one piece.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to 4 individual tabs. The other thing, which was my point in the text message I sent this morning, is that the seam is interior and you aren't seeing it and you're not putting any stress.
Right.
If it doesn't, as long as it solders in like 4 spots, it doesn't, you don't have to have a perfect solder seam because no one is going to flip and see it. Right. So you don't have to get the seam to be perfect. You can just put 4 big chunks of solder on there, get them to melt, get them to stick.
Yeah, I was throwing solder at those bitches today.
People get in this space of how it has to be perfect. Like if someone took it apart, they would have to be able to see that it was like exquisitely finished inside. It's like, no, that's a waste of time, right? That just makes
it's a myth. And it's a myth.
And it's
if you go
exactly what I was doing. It's like it's because of the type of object that I want it to be. I didn't want people, if it broke, to then see, oh well, she just kind of winged
that-
this one and
Look at that.
didn't
crappy
give a
solder
shit
too.
about my dead relative that's inside.
And here's the thing, it's like, if you are, if you've got a piece of binding wire around the outside,
Yeah.
right, so it doesn't open up while you're trying to solder, just bind it around the outside, set
Yeah.
it on the
Talking about the outer
titanium,
band.
Yeah.
and then you set, just so it doesn't open up while you're trying to solder the inside, and have a big enough torch that you can get that solder to go all the way around. Because
Yeah.
I think one of the other things that a lot of people do when they're working that big, like with belt buckles, or they're trying to solder, a bezel for something that's this big, and it's just like, get heavier metal. You're gonna have, they're using the same material that they would use to set a stone that is like, 4 by 8 millimeters for something that's like, a big honking
Okay.
like pendant. You've got to scale up the metal. You have to. So you're scaling up all of it. Scale up the metal too. So that's going to help tremendously. But
Okay.
and I think if you have enough like even heat distribution with that heavier metal, it's not going to be trying to cool down to the frozen dead state of the universe as quickly as something that's really
It's
thin.
not
It's
gonna say, screw you.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
soldering today.
Yeah, because if it's really thin, it's going to heat up and melt, and really quickly, but it's also going to be trying to cool down. And so your metal's going to be warping and be unevenly heated. So if you have metal that's a little more substantial, it's going to hold on to that heat a little bit longer
Okay.
and allow
Yep.
that solder to flow better. And
That
it's one of those things,
makes a whole lot of sense.
right? So people will get big and thin, and it's like, good luck with that. And then they'll melt a hole in it, and I'm like,
Right, or it'll
God
warp,
damn it.
right? Yeah, or it'll warp
and warp.
and
Yeah,
or
so.
or the solder, or you'll get the outside so hot that the solder seam will pop open on the outside.
That's why I was like, make sure you put a binder on the outside of that
Well,
thing to
because-
do this.
and it
Well,
actually-
I have pins in my honeycomb.
that's what I was going to say. If you just put pins so that it can't slide around, that's really all you need. So, but
I
yeah.
would still bind it. Because even the pins are going to be like,
You and Kent Ridley. Kent Ridley is a huge fan of binding wire.
anything that's that big, it's just, if you don't have something to cinch it together, and just make a little jump over the seam, put some binding wire around it so it isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier than trying to get pins in the right place and then hope that it's not going to open. And even if it's got, if it's got an opportunity to relax, it will. And that's what it's just going to be like, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it can do that between pins. It can't do that with binding wire.
Okay.
It will
Yeah, that
open
sounds-
between pins because it'll just
Yeah.
be like in between. If you've got 20 pins in there, maybe not. But if you've got like 6 pins in there, maybe not. But if 4 pins, there's room for it to move, and it will. So
Yeah, I even
it's
tried,
expanding.
which you don't see here. I even tried having the band, sawing in slots on the side so I could just shove metal through it. Kind of worked, but oh my God. That was at like 3 o'clock, and I was just like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? I need to go and have a Snicker bar and don't be hangry.
Well, the other thing is, since it's copper and you're probably using silver solder,
Yes.
you probably didn't want to have more than just the one solder seam on the outside, the vertical
Yeah.
solder
Oh,
seam.
I just figured I would just plate it.
Yeah.
Copper plate it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
I wasn't worried
would
about
be,
that so much.
That would be my solution for those things. Find the
Okay.
path of
Heavier
least resistance.
metal all the way around.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're so close to Cook and Goldson, right?
Cooks and gold.
Yeah, Cookson is just basically the same tube stop. So it's like 4 or 5 stops from my house. It's Donald's office. So
They know my first name by now.
I did have one worker there who started to recognize me because she's like, I love it when you come in, your pink hair is so cute. But I haven't seen her in a little while, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be
But
really
no,
sad
they're
if I was
very
still-
nice.
If I was still in Albuquerque, they'd be like, Oh, Jesus.
Rhea would be like, here she comes. You
Hi,
can spot her
Jennifer.
a mile away. Literally.
Hi, Jennifer. What brings you in today? Yesterday,
Yep.
get this. This is hilarious. Because, you know, I do love my coffee location. And I usually end up going to Starbucks in the morning on my way to work. Not a sponsor. Although Starbucks, if you'd like
Open
to
to it.
sponsor this, yeah. But yeah, so I go into, I pull up to my regular Starbucks this, yesterday morning, and they know me by name. They know Simon by name. They've come to my art walk. I mean, I know these people really well because I've been going there for 3 years, 4 years, almost every morning,
Yeah.
So they're like,
And I
"Are
do
you
actually
are-
really like that when I was
Me
in
too.
Seattle, that was one I went to
Yeah.
regularly too.
Yeah, and it's like, they know my name, they know who I am, they know Simon, they know they know my order, they know my alternative order, like if it's cold, if it's hot, they know what I like. And so, I'm really used to them, I'll pull up to the thing and I know they can see me through their little camera. And a lot of times they're like, "Hi, Jennifer, how are you and Simon this morning?" I'm like, "Hello, good morning." And I know I can hear their voices and I'm like, "Oh, it's Shay or it's Mike or, whoever.
Yeah.
It's Emmy." So I know them pretty well. So yesterday I pull up to the thing to order, and they're really busy yesterday. And it's a little bit earlier than I usually go to. So I pull up to the thing, and the speaker I hear click on, and he goes, "You get nothing." Okay. Is it me personally? I mean, because I know I've ordered a lot of stuff, and it was like, "Nothing for you." I'm sorry.
Wow.
Should I just get out of line now? And as
Tail between your legs.
As the guy says this, I'm in hysteria. The minute he said it, I just burst out laughing. I was like, "Oh my God." Like, have I ordered everything? Is there nothing left? And he was like, "Oh my
Nice.
God. Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Like, whatever I did, I'm sorry. And he goes, "No, they said Jennifer's at the drive up, and there's a Jennifer that works here at Starbucks."
Oh.
And I thought it was her, and I didn't realize it was you. And I'm so sorry. And that guy, I think, was so mortified, he vanished. I think it was Mike, and I don't know who it was. But I pull up to the window, and she goes, "I'm going to turn you over to Shay now." I was like, "Okay." And Shay was like, "I'm so sorry, Jennifer." I was like, "That's okay." I just figured I'd ordered too many things.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is
Like,
hilarious.
so do you want your regular tea and coffee? I was like, "Yes, please." So I get up to the window, and she was like, I was like, "No." That was hilarious. It made my day. It's fine. So
Oh
anyway,
my God.
but I just thought that was too funny.
Yeah. That is
You
that
get
is pretty
nothing.
hilarious.
Okay. So
So Julia, what are
Yeah.
you working on?
I was just going to ask you if you wanted to see.
yeah, what you working on? Your little
So
cute
And then
dress.
we'll go right back around to Jennifer because I know she's got goodies on her.
I do.
Beautiful goodies.
one of the Studio Sparks, actually for
Oh,
last
that's right.
day, so this is the Studio Spark from a week ago, but I'm not behind. I'm just doing it when I'm getting to it,
Okay.
was to make something from an old button.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
So I should probably turn on here. I'll turn on my my document camera because then you can see
whip out your
Okay.
camera equipment. Boop, boop, boop.
my camera equipment. Is it gonna turn on? There it goes. Okay. So I had these two buttons. They were on this card, Majestic buttons, 60 cents, made in Japan.
Yeah.
I have no idea where these came from, but
Japan?
it was a card of 4 and there were only 2 left. And Japan, I know, but I mean, they may have been my mom's. They may have been.
Oh.
Are they like sand dollars? What are they?
I'm trying to get the light so you can see them. Wow, this is really hard. see if I can get a little closer. They're open, so they're black, which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, there.
Almost had it.
Yeah.
good Lord.
Move it a little more towards your thumb. So to get the light. Now, to your right, I guess. Move
They're so
it to the
hard
right.
Oh my God, they're so hard to see. Can I put something other color behind it, or no, that's not helping. Do I need to put like
Well, I was
black?
trying because your thumb was so well lit. I was trying to see if that was the.
I think the problem is just the contrast. This is really,
Yeah. I have a real bad time with contrast on my camera. So, oh, wait, hold it. Okay, there you go. Do you have a smaller light you can shine on the black thing?
yes, that's
You
what I
use
need
your.
to do. Here, let me get my flashlight from my phone. Because
I can see the other one kind of.
Yeah, up on the top of the screen.
Okay, let's see if I can do it there we go. Now you can kind of,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so you can
Okay.
Oh,
see
those
the
are cool.
texture on it.
That's
Hold on, let me
beautiful.
get a little closer and focus, and then pick up my flashlight. There you go.
Mm.
So, and it even has this little bit of texture like on the insides of the holes,
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
a little bit of a toothy texture. So they're just really lovely buttons. And so I was like, well, there are two of them, so clearly they need to be a pair of earrings. And I didn't really want to like cut into them or do anything with them. So I have these mother of pearl beads that they're like Powa shell on one side, so that you might be able to see the color of these a bit better
Yeah,
without
yeah, yeah.
you can kind of see the
That
pretty
oil
rainbow
slick.
colors
Yeah.
Yeah.
on this side, and then the back side is just plain mother of pearl, right?
Wow.
So
Mhm.
I just took a pair of each of these beads.
Oh, it
And-
just has a button shank on the back.
Yeah, it just has and I just threaded it through. I put a ball end on the wire, and then I just threaded the wire through the two. I had to remount the beads to make them a little bit bigger. And then it just has a regular button shank on the back. And so I just
Oh,
did
so
it through that.
so show us the back and then use your phone camera. I mean phone light.
You can see the light. Yeah, hold on a sec.
Yeah, so we see the button part better.
That's so smart. So the wire,
Okay.
your earring wire is going through the button shank and
Right,
the bead.
the earring wire is going through the hole that the
Nice.
thread would go through if it were there. You can see it better there. So
That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
the earring wire is
Love it.
going through the hole that the thread would go through. So the button hasn't been
Yeah.
altered. It has just been added.
Utilized.
The
Yeah.
thing I like about this, I mean, look at the texture on this. The thing I like about this,
So
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah.
the Power Shell side, because of the shape of the button, it can't rotate.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then it's not going to flip around. Like from the back, you have sort of the two white and the one black dot.
Right.
Mhm.
It's like the domino from the back. But then from the front, you have the Power Shell,
Right.
Yeah.
abalone shell, and the bead. So I think they came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with them. I mean, the Studio Sparks really, the goal of the Studio Sparks, let's see if I set them down like this, maybe you can
It's
see
just to get your brain buzzing.
Yeah, yeah.
just to get your brain going.
What a cool solution. That's such a cool
Mhm.
solution for stuff.
So, but I thought,
Oh, you can really see him there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty happy with them. And then you
I
can
would be.
see
That's really
through,
cool.
yeah. So it's kind of took, one of the things that happens, I think, with the Studio Sparks is that sometimes you get a spark. And actually, Jennifer, most of the sparks from this time were ones you suggested. There are very
Oh.
few actually that were mine, because you were very
Okay.
kind and you spent time with me doing the sparks one day. And so they've been ones that weren't ones that I had preconceived notions about, because
Ah,
I didn't come up with them, right?
right, right.
It's been interesting for me to be working along with people too. I mean, it's always interesting for me to see what other people do in the sparks. But sometimes I went and looked for a button, and I'm like, oh, these are actually pretty cool buttons. There are only two of them. What would you use two buttons for, right? And so I was like, oh, but then I don't want to just make a thing that sometimes when you're making a spark, you're just making something. It's sort of a, oh, it's just,
Yeah.
but these were
Just
cool enough.
practice piece.
Oh, I actually want them to be something that I would enjoy wearing. So
Right,
Yeah.
right.
wanted them, most sparks really are not designed to be, you're making a
Finished products. Yeah.
thing and you're going to love it. But I kind of wanted these to be that. So,
Well, you know, I mean, I think too that when you're doing sparks or like a warm up like that, you never know what's going to come out of it. You know,
don't.
sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you know.
Right. I mean, I have my little container here of like, one of the things was you were like, make something out of a leaf or a piece of grass. And so I
Oh
did
yeah,
braid.
I saw some of those. Those are really cool.
Yeah, a piece of it was a Siberian iris leaf. And so I made this braid.
Oh,
Yeah. I saw that.
Wow.
That was so beautiful. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Show me.
So
Share your screen. Oh. Oh wow.
so it's a 2-finger braid. So it's a
Yeah.
braiding that was used apparently a lot for horse reins and bucket handles.
Hmm.
Oh.
And you can do it on 2 fingers. You just kind of wind the thread back and forth and so it's designed, the braid works best, of course, with fiber. So it was a little tricky to do it with essentially a piece of grass. You can sort of see the end here, how it works, right? Like each one, you kind of looped a new one through it. But
I love the gradient.
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it turned out pretty interesting. I think. I've got,
Well,
I think
it's
what's
so
going on is
chain-like.
I have a lot of overhead light today because it's super bright out. And so my skylight isn't covered. That's why my head looks so white. And I probably, with these sunny days, probably need to go back to putting the cover over my skylight because you're ending up with like really hot, harsh light in here. But yeah, it was,
No,
it was even
no,
more
it's
pretty when
fine.
I first made it because this part was like a really light green and then this
Yeah.
dark green. Now it's starting to dry out. And so you've lost, it's still green, but it's getting more brown.
You know what's really cool is that is so chain-like. It looks like a crocheted chain.
Yeah.
Well, it is woven, right? I mean, it is basically a knitted kind of fabric because what you would do, you put your 2 fingers through here and then I would have had a finger through this loop and I would have wrapped another loop around and then lifted the bottom loop up.
Oh, okay. So it's like a 2-loop crochet.
Yeah, here, let me show you where I got it from. Where's the book?
It's like a figure 8. Like
Yeah.
figure 8s and like.
So it's from this book. This is this Joan Michaels Pack person who wrote this book.
Oh.
Let me see if I can find it in here. And so I was kind of like, oh, I really like this book and I've been wanting to do some stuff out of it and maybe develop a class and
I like that idea.
and
That's really cool.
where is it? I'm pretty sure it was this one.
Get in there.
And so I was looking through the book, but the book is like, it's a lot of pretty complicated patterns.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is
Back
it
up.
for metal or is it for weaving?
No, this is for fiber,
Yeah.
Cool.
right? So this is, you know, oh God, I think it's just so blown out. Got two,
Yeah, I have that problem with my camera a lot.
you know, so it's like, there's a lot in here.
Wow.
I mean, it's quite a complicated, lots of different things. I think I learned about it in a class with Mary Lee Hu,
Oh, okay.
you know, because of course Mary Lee Hu would know.
Yeah.
So now I have to find, where was it? Was it in this one or was
Oh, wow.
it the other one? Maybe it was this other book. Because there are 2 she's done. She did this one as well, a creative and conceptual analysis of textiles. And maybe this was the one. And some of Mary Lee Hu's pieces are actually in this book.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, see, these are Mary Hu's work.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, but so which book was it that she put, that she had that thing? And here it is. It was this book. So this is the technique, 2-finger or fork braiding. Yeah.
Oh,
And so what you do is, you get 2 loops on there, and then you make a new loop, and then this loop comes up over that one. And then
right.
come around this side, and then this loop comes up over that one. And so that's how you end up with this braided structure. Right?
That
So you
is
do it on 2 fingers or a forked stick. And so you would, as you
Mhm.
wrap it, you would be pulling one side or the other tight as you go. Right.
right.
So it
And
worked.
that's gotta go really fast if you're working with fiber, I would think.
Yes, it took a little while to do it with this. I mean, this was like a 3-foot long or 3.5-foot long
Oh,
Siberian.
wow.
Yeah, it was long. So it took a hot minute to do it, because I was
Cool.
had to keep but it had enough strength, like there was enough
Mhm.
fibrous enough that it actually, I thought it was going to break, but it didn't. It worked out pretty well, actually. So it was pretty fun.
That's very cool.
But yeah, I mean, this was more like, oh, you just take a thing and make a thing, and it's never supposed to become a permanent object, right? It was really more about exploration of design and whatnot.
Right.
Their earring in. I may have, now having gone to all the trouble of cutting I guess part of it is I made these wires are 18 gauge, which is a little thick. But I wanted them to be thick enough that they would hold everything in place. But yeah, the wire, oh, it's Darcy. So the earring wire is a little thick because it's 18 gauge. And normally I would say 19 gauge is about the
Yeah.
heavy. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
So
20
cool. So
personally.
cool.
so here I
So cool.
can spotlight
My,
and see them.
ooh.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's really cool.
those look great.
And then I made the back part kind of long to mimic.
Yeah, to balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like it.
Let me turn on my room light
Mhm.
now that it's dark.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
I think they came out pretty well.
Nice. Nice. I like it. I like that I always hear great things from the Sparks class, and I saw that they had posted something on there the other day, and I always have to kind of pop in and see.
Oh, you did?
who's
Did
up
you
to-
pop into the Padlet to have a look?
I did, and I love that they use the Padlet and
Oh, yeah.
post stuff, and that you've got the. I like
that.
that you have the beginning of the thing on there. You've got the Spark on there, so you kind of know what it is, when you're doing it, or when you're looking at it, and what other people did for the thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like
Anywho,
that.
yeah. So cool.
So how many
You get
people
the
are
optimizer
there?
view.
People in YouTube land?
We do have 4 people watching the live stream.
People?
Hello,
YouTube,
people. Ask us anything.
ask us a question.
Let me see if I can find out
Yeah.
who's watching.
Who's watching? So I'm working on.
Okay, we got a
trying to get-
thumbs up from somebody.
That's me.
Okay.
Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Subscribe, follow, ring that bell.
Ring that bell. Ring that bell.
We should have at least 3 likes on there, right?
The 3 of us.
Oh well, I'm actually logged in as a Little Metal. Well, I could do it on my phone. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, there we go. It's in. Yay. Okay. Whew, that took a hot minute. Ugh. All right.
So what are you working on, Jennifer? You were just about to say.
Well, for those that are following Penthouse Studios and Jennifer Penthouse, I've
Oh.
been working on this series of earrings that are these little chrysoprase, those that I'm
Ooh,
working on. And I'm working on these guys, hoping that all the stones fall out. Those guys, which are a um,
malachite?
peridot, and no, they're not malachite. They're azurite and
Oh,
turquoise,
cool.
turquoise and azurite, something like that. Anyway, um, but the colors on these guys are just really lovely. I really love
Yeah.
those. They almost look like blue opals. They're really pretty. So anyway, but I also have a whole bunch of other stuff on the bench, which I can show you. Here we go. Let me get
Share that
my
screen.
let me get my document camera out, and I'll do this. Nope, I'll do this.
I wonder if I need
And
to change these wires because wearing them with 18-gauge wire, they're pretty thick. Of course, I
with
did engage because it
19.
was size for the hole.
Yeah, I like 19 gauge too. I think that's usually my go-to.
I think I have some 19, but then I would have to ball up the silver again.
Redo. Yeah.
Because I had like smoothed the end and it was a giant pain in the ass.
Are we not working? There we go. Work. There we go. Okay. There we have it. Okay. And are we on? We're on. There we go. Get that re-plugged in. And ta-da! There we go. I will spotlight that for everyone. Here we go. So yeah, so here's the chrysoprase that I was working with earlier. And so just getting those all cleaned up. And I love this. Yeah, shout out to Gem Cabs. I really like their rose cut cabs that they do. So I'm in the process of cleaning up my bezels right now, and cuttlefish bone cast, citrine, and Australian chrysoprase that are on those. So those little studs, stud muffins. And these guys, there you go. You can really see the color on those. It really looks good. So yeah, so the azurite and peridot up in the top, and those peridot, it's kind of, there we go. You can really kind of see that color a little bit better. They just are really lovely stones. And also studs. And I'm trying to sort of, so this whole series that I'm working on, these little studs that I'm doing are, I'm calling them a tide pool series. And so up here in
Like little stones in the tide pool.
Yeah, yeah. And not just like stones, but like all the little
Shells
things
and
that kind of
critters and
gather.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so many little things that are in tide pools
Beach
that I'm just like
glass.
fascinated with. Yeah, beach glass and crabs and anemones and all kinds of little things here. So yeah, here in the Pacific Northwest, we have all kinds of little things that are in tide pools. So I've got this, which are the little drusies and mother of pearl that are that one. And then I've got these guys that I'm working on. So these are going to have pearls on them. And I did one of these for the, that's going to have a post for pearl here.
You're sinking down towards yourself. There you go.
Yeah, your image is, we're losing you.
Your camera just drifted. That's all. But now what you're showing is in the middle. So
okay. So these guys. There's the hole for the pearl. There it is. This. There's a hole. I know you
get
got
on
a
there.
hole. There it is. All right. So anyway, yeah. So pearl there, like on that, and then I've got some blue kyanite that's going to kind of pop on there. So it's going to have like a pearl and like the blue kyanite on the inside. And this kyanite is just hard to see on camera, but
nummy.
it is really nummy. So it's just, yeah, got lots of flash on the inside. Then the other ones that are here, I've got some that are the little Herkimer diamonds that I'm going to be doing with these guys.
I think that's the name, the Herkimer. Hurt.
Herkimer,
Sorry.
Herkimer. Yep. They'll have like a Herkimer and a pearl, and so that'll be like a little doodah. There we go. So anyway,
That's
so
pretty.
yeah, I'm working on that stuff, and then I've got some other little studs that have sapphires in them. I'm going to add pearls to these guys as well. So anywho, and I want to know what you guys think about this. I really like these, and I would love some feedback. So this is like a heavy gauge round wire that I ran through the half round rolling mill with a C-fan texture. So it textures it on the inside and the outside.
Oh,
And I'm kind of liking these hoops, but just wanted some feedback, what you guys think about
What
hoops
was
of a
the
certain size.
texture?
It's run through the rolling mill. They're about an inch on the outside. But the, see if I can get the, yeah, it's like a C-fan texture.
Was it a commercial texture, or did you actually run a C-fan through there?
No, it's one of the rolling mill resource,
Textures.
yeah, the paper, the laser cut paper.
Cool.
So it
yeah.
just, so I can repeat that, which is what I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
it's, you know, kind of that C-fan texture, but it's
Yeah, I
kind of cool
love
because
it.
I can get it on the inside and on the outside when I run it through the half round mill. And that way I can get sort of a low dome on my hoop. So anyway, yes,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice having the texture on the inside.
Yeah, you know, I just Chris from Lion Punch Forge and I were talking about working with, you know, running things through the mill and sandwiching it like that. And I was like, oh yes, indeed. So I actually got the idea from Chris. And I used it for one of the rolling mill classes. I showed him how to do these. And so these were actually a sample from that I was kind of working on, and I really am digging them. So
Yeah.
okay, all right, cool. Then I will continue. Okay, so that was my question on that. Yeah. So, ta-da! And back over here. Hello. All right, cool. Well, yeah. So I'm just going to work on, you know, setting these stones today and getting some things done. That's what I'm doing today in the studio.
Yay. I've got a bunch of glass on order that hopefully will get here like Monday or Tuesday.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm really
Okay.
excited that I'll have new colors for my data cores, which are my columns, and throwing in some pinks and some different greens and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Can
I don't know why.
Yeah, mine's as usual. I'm like breaking away doing like green and yellow.
Now
usually I'm a
you're
riot
gray
of denim and gray. Yeah, I'm wearing like a blue. It's a denim dark blue, navy blue, and blue pants today. So. Riot of denim and gray.
Yes.
Anyway, show me share your screen with the data core pictures again. I want to see some of them again.
Yeah.
They're so, they have such lovely texture to them.
Yeah, so I actually, okay, so here is sort of like, I was kind of testing how the display would, or a display would work.
Yeah.
So these are all what I would call like a sugar texture. So they're all low fire glass frits, which is broken pieces of glass that have been graded, sifted and graded. So I usually use a fine grade. And so you can see, you know, that like usually my all white ones are like my test ones. But you can see I've got a bunch of different colors that I've been using.
I like the one that's denim and gray, especially.
But I did do a little experimenting with, you know, some bolder colors.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. But I was like, wait a minute, I don't know that I've seen these. How big around are those? Are those 2 inches around?
Yeah, they're 2 inches in diameter.
Okay. And the smaller ones
and about 4 inches tall. The
Okay.
taller one is probably about 5.5-ish, because it does, even though I fill it, when it's dry and unmelted, I fill it over capacity. By
Yeah.
the time it settles and fuses together, it shrinks about, an inch or so.
Right. And these, depending on how big you make the inside, does that varies the wall thickness, right?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
So I think one of these is actually pretty thin. I think it's the rainbow one on the end, on the left
Yeah.
hand side. That actually has I did a pretty big open, and so it's got it was a little too much. It's got a couple holes in it, small, but it can't contain anything.
It can contain light.
It can contain light, yes. Yes, all of these
I like
have
I like the idea of them
have-
containing light.
yeah. And so this is
Um,
actually me, when I was figuring out, do I want the bands and how will they look and how tall? So I just use paper and some markers to.
I really like the idea of them being like mixed with the paper. It's just like the fragility of one and the strength of one is absolutely the opposite of what the fragility and the strength of the other one is, which
Mhm.
is, just interesting dichotomy of materials. It's an interesting juxtaposition
Yeah,
conceptually of
but
material.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Trying to see it.
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, now this is another
know.
thing. So this, you can tell that I was just photoshopping and trying to, just kind of create a background. But
Looks good.
the bar that you see in the back is something I did back in 2015, and I had this idea that they might actually, the cores and my canyon walls might actually pair well together. So I think I'm
Yes,
going to be
they do.
doing
They do.
more of those again, and
Yeah.
do a little more so that it's more like the canyon wall will sort of hug the core. But I don't know.
like them
We'll
next
see
to each
how
other
that.
like that too.
Yeah.
Well, and as far as like a base for that, I can totally see like a piece of well, if you're doing it in copper, yay, because it would match.
Oh.
But I can totally see that with like a steel, kind of frame around the bottom with like, some sort of like clip that comes up, or I don't know.
Oh,
Kind of
where
interesting.
is that? Where is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
What did I do with it?
What coral clip?
Oh, here it is, right in front of my face.
Let me-
So the
I'll do
other
that
thing
today.
I did is I did some sketching
Yeah. Ooh.
or display options.
Beat me to it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my lentils as well, I was.
Those all look great. Love all those. I love the fact that with all of these, when you can see to the inside, like the ones that have the holes in them, I love that you can see on the inside. And I think we were looking at one of them when I was there in London in August.
Yeah.
We had talked about it, and getting like a lens that you can like right into the side of that, so you can really see what's in there, or like blow it up, or like a reducing lens or something that fits into that side, just like seamlessly glued into the wall. Would be, that's like what I want so bad in those things. Because I really love being able to see to the inside of them. Because I know you can do that with the lentil pieces. They're, the way that you can kind of like see the frit balls on the inside, like little. They remind me of like little octopus eggs inside a shell. Of course, that's where my brain goes. But
here, I can let me go grab one so that our viewers know what we're talking about. Hold on.
Love it, because they do. They just look like little caviar and little eggs, don't they?
They do. They absolutely do.
Julia says nothing, just
No.
nods.
Hey, I was nodding. Yes, yes. Should speak up. Yes, they do. They look
Speak up,
delicious.
Julia.
Sorry. Somebody trying to make me talk? Surely not.
No, no.
So there's the,
Ooh, yeah.
I know, those are the coolest.
Well, it's so crazy that that's glass on the outside
Yeah.
too.
yeah, and this it's all, whoops, get in the middle. Yeah, it's all glass.
Here, hold on. Wait for it. Boink. Here we go. Yeah. So, yeah, because the glass on that is so smooth.
Now this is powdered frit. And these
So
are
crazy.
frit balls on the inside. So I took a coarse grain frit and I heated it enough so that they contracted into little balls. And then I inserted them into the lentil here.
Huh.
Make the lentil all, did you make the two parts of the lentil at the same time?
Yes. So what I do with those is I use a
clay?
binding agent and I may turn it into a clay. And so then I shape the glass with a mold and in the two separate halves. And then once they're dry, then I'll take some more of the clay and create, join them together at the seam. And then I fire them, and so that they are all one piece.
Balls in, or you put the frit balls in?
I put the frit balls in when they're like this one I did when it was the two separate pieces, and so when the clay was initially wet, I went ahead and put all the frit balls inside.
So they kind of stuck to the wet clay.
Yes.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So then when you fired it, you fired the whole thing at once. You didn't have to go back in, but that way you can also get the frit balls all the way up inside. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise,
'cause you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I like some of your displays a lot. The ones that you sort of are like, okay, this kind of like floats it right in there, especially the ones with the lentil, because they have like things that are like, look, don't,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm
And-
thinking about actually taking the lentils in and instead of having an open hole, to then just have a inverted curve, dome, whatever. Basically the inverse of this dome, of this curve, so it dips
There.
inside.
Right.
So
yeah,
then
yeah.
on the large scale.
Right.
So then it could be also a container of things, or if I do it with metal that I insert into the glass, then that I could set things in the metal or have things
Cool.
sprouting out, things like
Cool.
that. Those are some ideas that I'm gonna actually do. I think I have a
love it.
sketch. I have a sketch.
I see a sketch. Hold on. Wait for it. Here we go. Boink. There we go. Right.
You can see
So I
it
know
when I
you were
hold
talking
it
about
up.
doing one of those with metal, right?
Yes. So I would do this one is actually the one with metal. And then I was actually thinking of making a stand out of the glass clay.
ah,
Mm.
okay.
So that way,
Yeah. It
all
sits,
glass. And that would actually be pretty easy to do. So
Right.
I like easy.
Uh,
Cool, but easy.
oh,
nothing wrong with easy.
No.
like it.
Well, ladies,
It's elegant in its simplicity.
indeed, this has been a blast.
Yeah.
I hope that people watching it and then maybe other people watching it will be encouraged to join us for Open Studio Access.
Yep.
Sure.
Absolutely.
July, I think the first one is July,
3rd.
I think. Let's see.
July 3rd with me, Jennifer from Little Metal Foxes.
I think so.
Yes, July 3rd.
Monday, July 3rd. And then the second one is Friday, July 7th. And then in the second week of July, there are 3, because there's one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday.
Right.
So yeah, come and join us. It should be a lot of fun.
Well, the other, so it'll be like every Monday, Monday and Friday, and then every other Wednesday.
And every
is kind
other
of
Wednesday.
what's going on. Yes.
So you've got
The
4 hours a
other
month
thing we might want to point out is that
for
if
2
you want to
hours.
sign up for Open Studio Access, go to our website at
Right.
www.littlemetalfoxes.com and sign up for a class or sign up for Open Studio Access or both.
Yeah, but you don't have actually,
you-
and remember, you don't have to be in a class or even ever have a class to do Open Studios.
Right.
I've had
We
a lot
will
of
take
people.
anybody who wants to come along and have a chat with us.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people asking. It's like, can I just stop in and ask you a bunch of questions? And I'm like, yeah. And so for that one-on-one mentoring is $60 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. This is $65 for the entire month. So
You get 20
got a lot
hours,
more-
up to
yeah,
20 hours
20
of,
hours.
of us,
right, yeah.
direct to
So
us.
yeah. So one and or more of us at a time. So you've got some people to bounce things off of, and with the hopefully the goal is to have build the community in the Open Studio Access so that you may pop in on Wednesdays and somebody else is there on Mondays and Wednesdays, and so you guys kind of get to connect and like a classroom, like an open studio. So that's the plan. Hopefully you don't just get us, you get feedback from others that are working on things too. So it could lots of resources, and we've got several people that are full of ideas and resources that take classes with us regularly that are amazing resources and are just brilliant people. Engineers, nurses, scientists, all kinds of people that are just in our community that take classes. So getting feedback from them can be they are quite the resource and problem solving group. So they're amazing. But yeah, you wouldn't be here live on YouTube with us. You would actually sign up for the class through our website, and then it would be on Zoom live, and so we would be able to work with you on Zoom, on a Zoom call, and you could pop in and out, and we'll be there the whole time. And there you go.
Yep.
Chat if you want, don't if you want, just hang out, have a glass of wine, watch how silly we are.
All of the above.
Or not.
All of the above. Yeah, make fun. It's fun. Yeah. So, but yeah, we have the the chat box. You can ask questions or just say them out loud on Zoom because you'll be on the Zoom call with us. So,
Share your screen, show us pictures of what you're working on.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
We love seeing other creatives work. I mean, and it's just so awesome to see through your eyes what you're working on. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. And that's, I think, one of the nice things about this is that we can really see what you're doing immediately and give you feedback for it. So that's really kind of nice, rather than I was talking to somebody recently who Natasha told me to tell you both hello. Bybee. Sends her heart and love. So, but I didn't realize she was in Spokane. I thought she was still on the east side, but she's much farther east. She moved to Spokane and is now the grandmother of 2. She has 2 COVID grandbabies.
Wow.
For something.
Ivy.
Yeah.
Hi, Natasha, in Spokane.
Hi, Natasha. So she's been real busy, and she had to fly in for a class. And I said, we've got a lot of people that are here, there, and beyond. It makes it a little bit easier. And she was feeling kind of isolated, and I was like,
come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. She was such a great president for the Seattle Metals Guild. She was.
Oh yeah.
She's Spokane's gain is our loss.
I know. Yeah. And the current secretary for the board, Seattle Metals Guild, Cynthia Smutney, is also in.
That's right.
Spokane.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that's where she was. Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, but I mean, it's when you're feeling kind of isolated, and a lot of us are working in, our individual independent studios, and sometimes it's hard to find a community of people that are there to bounce ideas off of, and just have somebody to kind of work alongside of. Sometimes it's, yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
That's why you came up with this idea. Because you're like,
For a couple of bucks an hour, you can like have studio access.
Exactly. $3 an hour. I mean, come on, that's a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, right.
Or less than a coffee,
I was gonna say,
depending on where you are.
2 hours is 1 cup of coffee. So there you go. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can feed 3 artists. Anyway. All right. Well, Julia, you gonna bounce out and go?
I am. I'm going to go get something to eat, and yeah, I got to get on to doing other things. So,
I know. I'm gonna set these stones as well.
all right.
All
Are you
right,
going to stay
ladies.
on the Zoom call? No, we should probably close that out. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna we're gonna bounce out here. And so we're gonna stop the live feed, but thank you all very much for joining us. And I
Yep.
hope we'll see you on our live